Bloomington, Minnesota, a classic matchup, pits the explosive Miami Dolphin offense against the Purple Gang Minnesota Viking defense. Minnesota's first possession. Fran Tarkenton fakes to Dave Osborne. He's under a heavy rush, but fires a long pass downfield. John Gilliam is behind everyone. He's got it on the 25, and no one's going to catch him. A 56-yard score gives the Vikings a 7-0 lead. But can the Purple Gang stop the Dolphin attack? Still in the first quarter, Bob Greasy drops straight back. He fires a short one to Larry Zonka. Zonka is wiped out on a crushing tackle by Roy Winston. Officials rule the play an incomplete pass, but the Viking defense is doing the job.
In the first quarter, the Vikes 3 first downs to Miami's 2. The Vikings 80-yard passing to the Dolphins 3. The Vikings rushed for 19 yards to the Dolphins 39. Greasy is 2 for 5 unofficially in the forward passing department, and when the second quarter begins, Dolphins will have another third down play coming up, which they have not been able to convert this afternoon so far. 3rd and 10 from our 20-yard line. Here we go with the beginning of the second quarter. The Vikings out in front by a score of 7-0. Briscoe and Warfield are the wide receivers spread to the near side. Kick and Zonka are the split backs in behind Greasy on 3rd down and 10. Here is Greasy rolling out to his left. Sets the fire. He throws deep. It is intended for Briscoe. Intercepted out of bounds, and it'll be ruled an incomplete pass. Bobby Bryant grabbed the ball, but he was out of bounds down here on the near side. That was very plain. The officials called it as they should have. Pass was intended for Briscoe, and so the Dolphins will have to give it up again with a 4th down situation, and Seipel is in the punt. Greasy now 2 for 6 with just 3 yards through the air. And that's been the big story. They have shut off Warfield, Briscoe, and everybody else. West and Bobby Bryant are back as the double receivers for the punt. Standing at the 5-yard line is Seipel. He gets the kick out of there, a beauty. A nice high spiral. He hangs it up there a long time. Fair catch is made by Charlie West for the Vikings. Back at their 36, 37-yard line is where they'll put the ball down. So the Vikings, who have dominated play with excellent defensive work by this front four and the linebackers and good pass coverage, the Dolphins have not been able to move the football like they would like to and have been in Minnesota territory only once. The only scoring play, a 56-yard touchdown pass off a beautiful play fake, tracking to the Gilliam in the first quarter. All right, Washington and Gilliam are split to the near side, double wide receivers. Brown and Osborne, the split backs. In behind Tarkenton, Vikings from their 37-yard line. Here's the handoff going to Brown, hits the middle and gets to the 39. A gain of about 2 as the Dolphins defense waiting for it. Vern Denherter from the defensive left-end spot made the tackle. It'll be a 2nd down coming up and about 8 yards to go for Minnesota. The ball at their 39. The next home game for the Dolphins will be 2 weeks from today on Sunday, October the 15th, when the San Diego Chargers will be at the Orange Bowl. Get your tickets for this contest at Gate 14 at the Orange Bowl or at Fort Lauderdale Yankee Stadium. 2nd down and 8. Vikings ball at their 39. Washington spreads to the far side. Gilliam to the near side. Brown and Osborne are the split backs behind Tarkenton from the Vikings' 39-yard line. On the snap, Tarkenton drops the throw. Throwing to the far side. Washington's got it out of bounds in Dolphin territory at the Miami 49-yard line. That will be a 1st down for Minnesota as he just hitched one out to the far side. Washington caught the ball with both feet on the inbounds department and just stepped across the far sidelines, going out of bounds with it. 1st down for the Vikings at the Dolphins 49. As far as Tarkenton is concerned, he has thrown the ball a total of 7 times, has completed 4 for 94 yards. Tarkenton drops the throw. He sets up, has plenty of time, throwing deep down the far sideline. It is overthrown, way overthrown, incomplete back at the 15, intended for Brown. Curtis Johnson, the Dolphins' right cornerback, was the nearest man to it, and he was a good 5 yards away. So it'll be a 2nd down and 10. Vikings ball at the Dolphins' 49. They have played good, sound football, Minnesota has so far. Defense. has been the key, and that one long bomb, which Tarkenton play fake, brought the defense up, and then hit Gilliam in deep at the 22, and nobody near him. He ran in for the score. Washington splits to the far side, Gilliam to the near side. Oscar Reed now in there with Dave Osborne as the running back. Second down and 10 from the Dolphins' 49-yard line. Tarkenton hands off to Reed, slips and falls down, going on a slant across the left side, and gets about a yard to the 48-yard line. So they do slip here, even on grass, even on a dry field. Mike Cohen, the Dolphins' weak side linebacker, contained him at the Dolphins' 48. It'll be third down coming up, and 9 for the Vikings. The ball at the Miami 48-yard line. New England upset Washington 24-23. Baltimore defeated Buffalo 17-0. First quarter, Denver over Kansas City 7-0. Fourth quarter, Detroit 33. Chicago 24. First period, Oakland 14. San Diego 0. Third down and 9 from the Dolphins' 48-yard line. Tarkenton looks over the defense, drops to throw. He sets. He fires in the middle. Overthrown, intended for Osborne at the 42-yard line. The ball was thrown high, and Tarkenton was dumped back there by Bill Stanfill off the Dolphin rush. So that brings up a fourth down. They refused to try a 52-yard field goal a while ago, electing to go for a punt situation. And Eyeshide is back in the ball game.
That's the first defensive series where it actually went the way that Bonacani tries to work it most of the time. Rick, get them to the point where they've got to throw on the third and knock it down.
Charlie Lee stands for the Dolphins back at the 10-yard line. Dick Anderson, the up man, at the 20. Here is the snap. Eyeshide gets it out of there, hangs it up. A beautiful long high spiral, bounces into the end zone for the touchback and will be blown dead there. So the Dolphins again will start from our 20-yard line, trying to get something started. The Dolphins will start from our 20-yard line with 12 minutes and 37 seconds left to go in this first half. There is a timeout on the field. Dolphin football action continues from Bloomington, Minnesota, with a score of the Vikings 7, Miami 0. Rick Weaver back at Bloomington, Minnesota. Gracie ready to go to work. First down from his 20-yard line. Hands to Mercury Morris. Sweep to the left behind Larry Little. He finds the small opening and gets out to about the 23, maybe the 24-yard line, as the blocking was jammed up by Jim Marshall, who refused to be written out of the play from his defensive right end. Morris and Zonka are the running backs. Briscoe and Warfield the wide receivers. Marv Fleming the tight end. And Bob Greasy, the quarterback. The Dolphins have been in Minnesota territory only once and never beyond the 40-yard line. The Vikings lead by a score of 7-0 on a 56-yard touchdown pass in the first quarter from Tarkenton to John Gilliam. A second down and 6. Dolphins ball at our 24-yard line. Zonka and Morris are in the eye. Briscoe goes in motion off to the far side of the field. Here's a handoff. Zonka trap in the middle. He's across the 25 and gets out to about the 27-yard line. Zonka picks up about 3. It'll be a third down and 3 coming up. And the Minnesota secondary was in there to contain him. Actually, he was tripped up at the line of scrimmage. The ball is resting between the 26 and 27-yard lines. We'll call it 27 for accuracy's sake. It'll be a third down and 3. And then once again, Gracie comes up with a third down situation. Zonka has picked up 25 yards on the ground, 6 carries thus far. The leading ball carrier for Miami. Zonk, slot man right, Briscoe, split right, Warfield to the near side. Morris, the back in behind Greasy. Third down and 3 from the 27. Greasy drops the throw, throws to the near side. Caught by Warfield. And that is his first reception. He's out of bounds at the Dolphin 33. Bryant ran him out, but not before he picks up the first down. Greasy picks up the first down with a pass completion to Warfield on a little hitch pattern to the near sideline, and the Vikings defense is certainly giving up nothing long thus far. Other scores in the fourth quarter: Green Bay leads the Cowboys 16-13. Fourth quarter, Pittsburgh over Seattle 18-12. And St. Louis, rather, 18-12. Detroit has beaten Chicago 33-24. First down, Dolphins at our 33-yard line. Warfield splits off the near side. Briscoe, slot man left, goes in motion off to the right from our 33. Greasy with a play fake, drops the throw, fires the middle. It is almost intercepted, intended for Marv Fleming, deflected off his fingertips, and middle linebacker Lonnie Warwick, diving for the deflection, almost came up with an interception, but not quite. It'll be a second down and 10. Dolphins football at our 33-yard line. 11 minutes, 6 seconds to go in this first half. We have not been able to generate any offense. Greasy has thrown the ball a total of 9 times and has picked up 8 yards through the air on just 3 completions. Second down and 10. Greasy sends Briscoe to the far side, Warfield to the near side. Morris and Zonka, the split backs, in behind Greasy. Vikings lead 7-0. Here's the handoff. Zonka counter trap. He's got a hole. 40, 45, 50 into Vikings territory goes Larry Zonka. And he's knocked off his feet until he gets to the 49-yard line. A first down on the counter trap. Zonka hitting off the near side and moves the ball down to the 49.
And, Rick, all the credit on that hole has to go to Wayne Moore. Wayne Moore is the man that opened that hole. He moved Marshall right out of there and gave Larry something he could really run through.
That is the biggest gainer of the day as far as the Miami offense is concerned, as Zonka picks up 19 yards. The ball is at the Minnesota 49-yard line. First down, Dolphins. Briscoe split to the far side. Warfield to the near side. The Dolphins are in a battle this afternoon. Vikings lead by a score of 7-0. Greasy drops the throw. Gets a good rush. He is trying to scramble with it now, and he has to eat the ball for a big loss. Way back to the Miami 42-yard line. He is dumped. That is the fourth time that the rush has gotten to Greasy this year.
That Alan Page, Rick, we just saw one of the reasons why he was the National Football League Defensive Player, Most Valuable Player of the Year. He went in there and he forced Greasy all the way up into that pocket, where in turn Winston could come in and make the tackle on him.
All right, the ball is back at the Dolphins' 42-yard line now, where it'll be a second down and about 19. We have 10 minutes and 3 seconds to play in the first half. Vikings with a 7-0 lead. The Dolphin offensive line with a real battle against this Minnesota front four. Briscoe splits right, Warfield to the near side. Second down, long yardage. Greasy drops the throw. He fires to the far side. It is caught by Zonka. He has run out of bounds at the 50-yard line on the far side of the field. It's flat out to Zonka. Kasoki, the strong safety, is the man who ran him out after an 8-yard pickup. So that'll bring up a third down situation and about 11 yards to go for a Miami first down. The Dolphins have been in Vikings territory only twice, and Larson goes out. We get in the extra secondary man on the prevent obvious passing situation. The ball is right at the 50-yard line. A third down and 11. Greasy breaks the ball club out. Briscoe comes to the near side. Warfield sets as a slot man left, and kicking Zonka. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid are the split backs in behind Greasy. From the midfield stripe, Greasy sprinting back out to his left to throw. He sets up. He swings a pass for a kick, and he is knocked down by Hilgenberg. He never had a chance for the football anyway. It was thrown too high, and he and Hilgenberg had a mighty collision down here on the near sideline. So that brings up a fourth down situation. And we put Larry Seipel in the ball game, electing to punt the football. And they send Charlie West along with Bobby Bryant back as the deep men to field the punt. Thus far, Seipel has kicked for a 39-yard average in this game.
Rick Hildenberg has always had a reputation as a headhunter, and he really got ahead that time. He almost took Jim's off.
All right, here's the snap. Seipel gets a nice high end-over-end kick out. It bounces down at about the 8-yard line. Miami has a good chance to down it. It's inside the 5 and down at about the 2-yard line. As Seipel pooches one down there and gets the Vikings with their backs to the wall. They're going to put it down at the 3-yard line. So that's where the Vikings will start from, a 46-yard punt, but more important, the field position. Dolphin football action continues from Bloomington, Minnesota, with a score. The Vikings 7, our Dolphins nothing. That punt was actually 44 yards as the ball was marked at the 5-yard line, so that's where the Vikings will put it in play. Green Bay has beaten the Dallas Cowboys 16-13. That's the final score. The Vikings will start from their 5-yard line. They split Washington to the far side, Gilliam to the near side. We've got Osborne and Brown, the split backs, in behind Fran Tuckenden. From the Viking 5-yard line, the handoff goes to Brown, finds a hole on the right side, rips off a tackle across the 10 up to the 12-yard line. Bill Brown, who has a very low center of gravity, is very difficult to bring down, even after 12 years, a very durable performer. And he got 7 yards. This is where the Dolphins have to contain this Minnesota offense. Henry?
You can tell where the battle has been today when you look at Bob Kuchenberg's jersey. The back of it is just black with dirt. He spent a lot of time down on that ground, I guess.
The ball is on the Minnesota 12. It'll be a second down and 3. San Francisco leads New Orleans 27-2 in the fourth quarter. Houston leads the Jets 23-20 in the fourth period. Dolphins play the Jets at Chase Stadium next week. Airtime on WIOD and these network stations, 12:50. Second down and 3. Vikings from their 12-yard line. Let's see what Tuckenden comes up with this time. Hands to Brown, goes to the left side. He is caught, shakes the tackle, across the 15, out to the 18-yard line. A fumble, and Miami recovered. The Dolphins recover the football as Brown was searched, and the Dolphins come up with it. Dick Anderson is the man pointed out to me by my spotter, Bob Schwegel, as the fellow who comes up with the football. Let's get down to Henry Barrow.
You got a sharp spotter today, Rick. It was Dick Anderson who dove in there and got that ball.
All right, the Dolphins get a break. Now let's see if we can get 6 points on the board, and 7 points. Brown's fumble recovered by Dick Anderson. His second fumble recovery of the season, incidentally. The Dolphins' strong safety. The Dolphins have the football at the Vikings 17. Briscoe splits right. Warfield to the near side. Kick and Zonka are the split backs in behind Greasy. 8:16 left to go in this first half. Vikings lead 7-0. Dolphins get a break. Here is Greasy dropping the throw. He has time. He fires the end zone. It is intercepted by Bobby Bryant. He's out to the 5, 10, 15, and rolled out of bounds on the far side at the 17-yard line. That pass was intended for Warfield. Greasy going on a post pattern for Warfield, and Bryant playing it perfectly, just stepped in front of Paul, picked it off in the end zone, and runs it out to the 17-yard line where center Jim Langer ran him out of bounds. So the Dolphins were not able to capitalize, and that gives the momentum back to the Minnesota Vikings. They have the football at their 17 with a first down. Washington splits left, Gilliam to the near side. Here is Tarkenton dropping the throw. He fires. The ball is batted down at the line of scrimmage by Jim Dunaway, I believe. It was batted down on the pass rush. And it'll be a second down and 10 coming up. Dunaway is the man who came in there. 6'4", 277, 10-year veteran from Mississippi. Had the hands up, and Tarkenton never got it off. Second down and 10. Minnesota's ball at their 17. What an unfortunate break for the Dolphin ball club to have that pass intercepted. What a great break for Minnesota. As far as Greasy, that is his third interception of the season. Tarkenton sprinting back out to his right. He fires. It is caught. And out of bounds is Beasley, the tight end, across the 20-yard line. He's got out to about the 22. Gain of about 5 on the play. Dick Anderson made the tackle. So the Vikings with the ball at their 22-yard line. A third down and 5 situation coming up. 7 minutes, 15 seconds left to go. This has been the way it has gone all afternoon. That Viking secondary has taken their keys off of the pressure exerted by the front four and have been able to control Greasy's passing game. Washington splits to the far side. Gilliam is the slot man left. Osborne and Brown are the split backs. In behind Tarkenton on third down. He drops to throw. He is going to have to scramble now. Runs out of it. Mordecai chasing him. He goes laterally to the far side of the field, and he is cracked at the 23-yard line. He did not pick up enough yardage for a first down. Francis ran to his right, found a hole, and then started to run laterally to the far side. And he was finally dropped over there by Dick Anderson as Bonacani was chasing him all over the place after the gain of a yard. So the punting unit comes on, and Eichscheid will kick. 6 minutes, 24 seconds left to play in the first half. Line of scrimmage, the 23 in Viking territory. Charlie Lee, 4-year veteran who has no college background, a real speedster for the Dolphins. Back as the deep man, Anderson the shallow man. Eichscheid stands at about the 7-yard line. Here's the snap. He gets the kick out. He booms a beauty. Nice long spiral. Back at the Dolphin 25 is Lee. 30. Cuts for the far side. 35. Stiff arms the tackler and gets out to the 39. A flag on the far side of the field. A flag is thrown on the far side of the field. A 52-yard punt that time by Mike Eichscheid. We'll see what the penalty is about. Probably clipping. And this particular circumstance, it generally is. And it's against the Dolphins. This is the second clipping call against Miami this afternoon, and so they will start off the clipping infraction back at their 29-yard line. Now let's check that. They haven't put the football down yet. There it comes in from the far side. It's put down at the 24-yard line, so the Dolphins will start from there. Clip on Curtis Johnson is who it was called on. We got a timeout on the field. We'll hold it here since we do have the 2-minute warning coming up and we are all caught up with our commercials. Lou?
Rick, we're talking about really carrying this to him. When Henry a couple minutes ago said that we could really see where it is, it's down there in the middle of the line, and Kuchenberg came in with dirt all over his back. I had to tell Henry this, but an offensive lineman is supposed to have that dirt all over his front. I'm afraid this is probably one of the problems. Our friend down there, Mr. Page, is really barreling in there, and he's not getting the dirt all over the front side of that jersey.
All right, when time is in, the Dolphins will start following that clipping infraction at our 24-yard line with 5 minutes and 56 seconds left to play in the first half, and the Vikings defense making that 7-0 lead stand up. Their touchdown came in the first quarter on a 56-yard pass completion from Tarkenton to Gilliam. We'll pause here for station identification on the Miami Dolphins Football Network.
Call the right play when you need a used car. For guaranteed clean used cars, see William Lehman Used Cars on South Dixie Highway in South Miami.
WIOD Miami.
Okay, Rick Weaver, Henry Barrow, and Lou Krickmer back at Bloomington, Minnesota. We have a beautiful afternoon for football. The Dolphins have not been able to put together a consistent offense. Their deepest penetration caused by a defensive turnover, a recovered fumble, and then the next play following, why Greasy has a pass intercepted. Briscoe and Warfield are split. Dolphins with a first down from our 24-yard line. Here's the handoff to Mercury Morris, and he gets no place. That defense is magnificent. He loses a yard to the 23. Marshall and Page in on top of him. A delayed handoff that time. And Morris tried to find a hole on the left side and just could not make it. Wayne Moore goes off at offensive tackle, and Doug Crusan, 5-year veteran from the University of Indiana, comes in.
Marshall came in and made that stop, Rick, and he really got all over Moore. I think that's one of the reasons Moore is going out. He got hurt.
Second down, 11. Dolphins football at our 23-yard line. Briscoe splits to the far side. Warfield to the near side. Greasy, who has been intercepted once so far this afternoon. Up under center. Play fake, drops the throw, sets up, has plenty of time. Now he's going to have to sprint out to the left. He is still looking for somebody to throw to. He comes to the near side, being chased. He fires, and the ball is knocked down and almost intercepted. Greasy was all over the field, going from his right to his left. Looked like he had somebody open deep. Warfield was covered back there by Charlie West. And Bob had the ball knocked down by Jim Marshall. At the last instant, he decided to throw along the near sidelines, and Marshall and Page were chasing him with foam running from their mouths, so to speak, trying to get their hands on him and eat him alive. He got the pass off, but it was knocked down by Marshall and almost intercepted.
That secondary just isn't going to let you complete that long bomb. This is what Bob was trying to do on that play, and there's no way that you can complete it out there with that West and Bryant back there and with that big front four just all over you.
Third down and 11. Dolphins football at our 23-yard line. Greasy with another innumerable third down situation this afternoon. He drops the throw. He swings one out. Morris drops the ball. Mercury Morris on a screen down the near side, drops the ball, so we get the punting unit. Henry?
They're working on Wayne Moore's right shoulder, but it doesn't look good because right now it appears the doctors are taking him into the locker room. He's having to hold his arm out to the side. We don't want to speculate, but it doesn't look good for Wayne Moore.
All right, the punting situation now. The Dolphins again fail to move the football against this purple gang. Larry Seipel in the punt. He'll stand at the 8. The line of scrimmage, the Dolphin 23. Bryant and West, the double safeties back at about the Minnesota 35-yard line. Vikings out in front, 7-0. Here's the snap to Seipel. He gets the kick out of there, and boom, a beauty. A long, high spiral. Backing up for it is Charlie West, back to the Minnesota 28, being pursued. He is hit and dropped across the 30 out at the 33-yard line. A 5-yard return for Charlie West, as Seipel really got the toe into it, and the specialty squad's down. A 48-yard punt by Larry Seipel. So Tarkenton will try to move his ball club now with 4:48 left to go in the first half.
Rick, here goes another one of these dislocated shoulders. Wayne Moore has a dislocated shoulder.
The ball is at the Minnesota Vikings 33-yard line. Tarkenton will be the quarterback. He has Gene Washington split to the far side, along with John Gilliam as the slot man left. Dave Osborne and Bill Brown are the splitbacks. 1st and 10 Vikings from their 33. Tarkenton on the snap. Hands to Osborne. Sweep to the near side. Cuts back to his left and hurdles the tackler across the 35 out to the 37-yard line. A 4-yard pickup. Tackle on the play by Mike Colin. Let's get down to Henry Barrows.
Lou, you may be absolutely right on Wayne Moore, but team doctors aren't ready to say yet. They want to get him into the dressing room and examine it more closely. It's very possibly a dislocated shoulder, but they're not ready to say that yet.
All right, we've got 4 minutes to play in this first half. Vikings with a 7-0 lead on a 56-yard first quarter TD pass from Tarkenton to John Gilliam. Right now, the Vikings have the football at their 37-yard line with a 2nd down and 5 situation. Washington splits to the far side, Gilliam to the near side. Tarkenton up under center. with the backs in an eye, and somebody moves. Ron Yeri jumps the offensive right tackle, and flags go down all over the place. He was pulling to the near side, and the flags went down. So the penalty will be marched off against the Vikings and sets the ball back to their 32-yard line. The call, illegal procedure, as offensive right tackle Ron Yeri jumped too soon. In the second quarter, Oakland 14, San Diego nothing. Pittsburgh has beaten St. Louis 25-19. Green Bay beat Dallas 16-3. Atlanta over Los Angeles 31-3. New England upset Washington 24-23. Baltimore beat Buffalo 17-0. First quarter, Denver 7, Kansas City nothing. Second down and 10. The ball back at the 32-yard line. Tarkenton drops the throw, has time, fires, and it is caught by Gilliam up at the Vikings 49, and he is down immediately. They are finding the seams in that zone, and Tim Foley fell on top of them. First down. 16 yards on the pass completion from Tarkenton to John Gilliam, who has been his primary target this afternoon. The difference here has been defense able to move the football and convert third down situations. Tarkenton has been able to convert his, and Greasy has not. Ball at the Vikings 49-yard line. First down with 3 minutes to go in the first half. Vikings with a 7-0 lead. Tarkenton brings his ball club out. Quint Jones, as Washington and Gilliam now are double wide receivers to the near side. Jones and Brown are the split backs behind Tarkenton. He drops the throw. Has time. Sets up, now being pursued. Stanfield's got him for a big loss as he fought off the block of the left tackle over there and nailed him back at the 39-yard line. A loss of 10 on the play. In the fourth quarter, Houston 26, the Jets 20. The Dolphins play the Jets at Shea Stadium next week. Airtime on WIOD and these network stations will be at 12:50. So the Dolphins bring in their prevent defense now with the second down and 20. Dunaway out, and Bob Matheson is in.
That's still a best pass defense, Rick. Knock that quarterback down, and then he can't get the ball off. That's the first time that defensive line has got to Tarkenton. And this is what you've got to do. You've got to get him on his back.
The ball back at the 39-yard line. A second down and 20 in Vikings territory. Washington splits near side. Gilliam off to the far side. Here is Tarkenton dropping the throw. He has time. Now he fires. It is picked off by the Dolphins. Who's got it? Doug Swift, the linebacker, back at the Dolphins' 40-yard line. So Tarkenton, Swift juggled that ball around, and we had to wait on the call to make sure that he had maintained possession of it. Doug Swift picks one off, and Tarkenton is intercepted. So the Dolphins take it back with 2 minutes and 7 seconds to go in the half.
And let's give an assist to that interception, Den Herder. Den Herder was rushing Tarkenton. This caused the interception.
The ball is put down at the Dolphins' 41-yard line, and the 2-minute warning has been given. Dolphin football action continues from Bloomington, Minnesota, with a score, Minnesota 7, Miami nothing. This is Rick Weaver with Henry Barrow and Lou Crickmer back at Bloomington, Minnesota. The Dolphins off Doug Swift's pass interception, the first interception against Fran Tarkenton of the season, incidentally. The Dolphins have excellent field position at our 41-yard line with 2 minutes to go in the half, if we can move the football. And that's been the big story. We have not been able to do it with any great proficiency against this rock-ribbed purple gang, the Minnesota Vikings, this afternoon. Greasy will have Kick and Zonka as the running backs, Warfield and Briscoe as the wide receivers. Greasy has had a pass intercepted this afternoon, intended for Warfield in the end zone, picked off by cornerback Bobby Bryant, which denied the Dolphins a score after a recovered fumble. Here's a trap handoff. Zonka hits the middle and gets out to about the 43-yard line, a gain of only 2 on the play as they were waiting for it. Marshall, the defensive right end, and Lonnie Warwick, the middle linebacker, on the stop. 2nd and 8, Miami in their 2-minute offense with no huddle from our 43-yard line. Greasy drops straight back to throw. He fires. It is caught by Fleming, the tight end, and he is run out of bounds at the Dolphin 49-yard line down the near sideline. Over to make the play was strong safety Carl Kosolke. Dolphins are still about 2 yards shy of what they need for a first down. It'll be 3rd down and 2. Our ball at our 49-yard line with 1 minute and 36 seconds as the clock is stopped, showing left to play in the first half. The Premian has had a field goal attempt blocked. Greasy has had a touchdown pass. If it had been caught, it would have been a touchdown. Intended for Warfield, intercepted in the end zone. 3rd down and 2. Here's another 3rd down situation for Greasy from our 49. Warfield splits left. Briscoe to the far side. Here's the handoff, going to kick. He slides off a tackler, digging for yardage. He didn't make it. He tried to go to the right side, and that defense just bounced off blocks. Hand fought them off, and he has ridden to the turf at the 49-yard line. Winston and Page on the stop. And Larry Seipel and the punting unit come on fourth down with 1 minute and 13 seconds to go in the half.
Rick, that front four is so fast. It's so hard to keep out of there. Eller, and when you get Page out there, they spun all the way out there and all the way over on his left side, up right in front of Kick.
Seipel will stand back at the Dolphins 34. We've got Bryant, number 20, down the near side. West, number 40, off to the far side, back at the 10-yard line. The line of scrimmage, the Dolphins 49, as we again fail to move the ball on offense. Here is Seipel, who has been our big gun offensively, hanging one up there. A nice kick, bounces inside the 10, inside the 5, and it's down at about the 3-yard line. So the Vikings are back there again as Seipel hung it up there, and nobody would have dared to have put their hands on the football as far as Minnesota is concerned, and the Dolphin coverage was able to down it back at the 3-yard line. A 48-yard punt by Seipel that time. Final score, San Francisco over New Orleans, 37-2. So Tarkenton with 40 seconds left to go in the first half, and Miami calls a timeout. Tarkenton will try to move his ball club from the Vikings 3-yard line. Let's see if we can recap the scores for you. Second quarter, Oakland 14, San Diego nothing. Detroit has beaten Chicago 33-24. In the second quarter, Denver leads Kansas City 7-3. The final, Baltimore shut out Buffalo 17-0. New England upset Washington 24-23. Pittsburgh defeated St. Louis 25-19. The Dallas Cowboys were beaten by a vastly improved Green Bay team 16-13. Atlanta slaughtered the Rams 31-3. The score that we just gave you, San Francisco 37, New Orleans 2 as a final. In the fourth quarter, Houston 26 to Jets 20. Dolphins have had a man injured in this ball game, and that is Wayne Moore, offensive left tackle, who has a shoulder problem. Time is in as Tarkenton working out from under the north end zone as a first down from his 3-yard line after Seipel's 48-yard punt. On the snap, he falls on top of the ball for about a yard gain to the 4-yard line. Just running out the clock, and Miami calls a timeout to stop the clock with 35 seconds left to go in the first half. Vikings on a 56-yard touchdown pass, culminating a 74-yard drive. Tarkenton hit Gilliam. Beautiful play fake right up the slot, and Gilliam was in behind the defensive secondary, which had been drawn forward on the play fake. He caught the ball at about the Dolphins 22 and just rambled the rest of the way unmolested for the score. That was in the first quarter at 10:26 left to play in the first period. The Dolphins recovered a fumble inside the Vikings 20-yard line, but Greasy's pass on the first play from scrimmage was intercepted by Bryant in the end zone. Yepremian has had a field goal blocked. Tarkenton falls on top of the ball again, gets out to about the 5-yard line, and Miami immediately calls a timeout, using up their timeouts now in the first half to stop the clock with 31 seconds left. It'll be a third down coming up, and about 8 for the Vikings, the ball back at their 5-yard line. Next Sunday, the Dolphins play the Jets at New York Shea Stadium, but 2 weeks from today, on Sunday afternoon, October the 15th, they'll be back in the Orange Bowl to meet the San Diego Chargers. Tickets are available at Gate 14 at the Orange Bowl in Fort Lauderdale's Yankee Stadium, and both of these ticket-selling spots are open all week long from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Lou Freakmer will have Dolphins managing general partner Joe Robbie as his halftime guest. Joe, a very popular man here in Minnesota, as he was a successful practicing attorney here for many years before getting into the professional football business. And I'm sure they'll have some interesting comments about this first half play. Time is still out on the field. Bonacounti overchecking with the Dolphins bench. The Vikings are back in the west end zone in a huddle. We have 31 seconds left to play in the first half. And it'll be a third down and about 9.5, maybe 8.5 to go for a first down. The ball back at about the Vikings 4.5-yard line. Conceivable the Dolphins could get their hands back on the football here in this situation. Tarkenton again just falls on top of it. Miami has used their timeouts up. It'll bring up a fourth down situation, and the clock moving with 19 seconds. Maybe they will get it off, and maybe they will not. As the Vikings taking all the time they want back in the end zone. Clock continuing to move with 9 seconds, 8 seconds. I don't think they're going to get the kick away. 6 seconds, 5 seconds before the end of the half. 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second, and there is the end of the first half as they run it out with the score. Minnesota 7, our Dolphins nothing.
Late in the third period, number 32, Oscar Reed's 22-yard sweep sparked an 80-yard, 13-play touchdown drive.
Through the third quarter, the Vikings 10 first downs, Miami 7, 111 yards through the air for Minnesota. Only 32 yards passing for the Dolphins, 131 yards for the Vikings, rushing to 97 for Miami.
With 4th and a half yard to go, Bill Brown dove across, establishing the Vikings lead at 14-6.
Mercury Morris grabs the kickoff, the 1 yard line, out across the 15 to the 20. Breaks loose, down the near side. If he gets a block, he might go. He does not get the corner turn. He's run out of bounds here on the near side of the field at the 30-yard line, the 31. Morris grabbed that short kick. It was a low trajectory kick back at the 1 yard line just as time was in. And he bounced off tacklers in a big pile up in the middle on the far side of the field and then came to the near side and did not get the block that he needed.
And Merck is mad, Rick. He felt that if he could turn that corner, he could really go all the way, threw that ball down when he came out there on the sidelines. Real upset.
Ball at the Dolphins 31. Greasy now trails by 8 points in the last period with 14-13 to go, 14-6. Kick and Zonka. The split backs. Warfield splits left, Briscoe to the far side. Hand off, the kick. He tries on a delay to hit the middle, and he gets only a yard, maybe 2, as the Vikings purple gang waiting for it up front. Larson, Page, they put the ball down at the 32-yard line, so it's a gain of a yard. It'll be 2nd down and 9. Kick has carried the ball, total of 7 times for 22 yards. Zonka has carried the ball 8 times for a total of 48 yards. 2nd down and 9. Dolphins from our 32. Waiting for the snap. Reese running back out to his right to throw. Fires back to the near side, screen to Fleming, 30, 35, and he slips and falls down at the 36-yard line. Fleming could have gone for another 5-10 yards anyway, but he slipped and fell. And that is the second slip on this natural grass, the kind that cows eat here this afternoon. Mandich comes in to replace Fleming. So we have a 3rd and 5 out of that situation instead of a first down. Reese rolling to his right and then throwing back to Fleming, the tight end on the screen to the near side. The ball for Dolphins 36. 12:58 to go. Vikings 14, Miami 6. 3rd and 5. Big play here. Mandich, the tight end, splits to the far side of the field. Briscoe and Warfield. Now the other receivers, Kick and Zonka, the split back. Reese drops the throw. Deep, he fires. It is caught by Kick. He took it away from the defender. He's got the first down to the 50-yard line. A great catch by Jim Kick. As Paul Krause was in behind him, and he leaped right in front, Kick did, and took the ball away. A first down, and that was the big play. And Greasy converts on 3rd down and picking up a first down at the midfield stripe. 12 minutes and 19 seconds to go. 14-6. Vikings out in front. The Dolphins have not been able to get a touchdown. They've had to settle for 2 Ukrainian field goals this afternoon. Briscoe splits to the far side. Mandich, the tight end, sets in tight. Warfield split only a couple of yards to the left. In the eye are Kick and Zonka. First down, Dolphins from the midfield stripe. Waiting for the snap. Reese, flag down. He fires in the middle. Briscoe can't hold on to it. And it's picked off. The officials rule that it is an incomplete pass. He was hit, juggle the ball. And coming out with it is Lonnie Warwick. But they rule it's an incomplete pass, and besides that, there's a flag down back at the line of scrimmage.
That was Miami offside, Rick. Looks like they're not going to take it.
They will take the down instead. And the penalty is declined, so it'll be a second down.
Offside penalty against the Dolphins declined.
And 10 for the Dolphins from the 50-yard line.
Second and 10 at midfield.
Clock is stopped on the penalty. 11:53 left to play. Vikings 14, Miami 6. And the Dolphins have got to find out for themselves if they can score something besides a field goal against this very tough and tenacious Minnesota defense. Briscoe splits to the far side. Warfield to the near side. Kick and Zonka the split backs behind Greasy. Second down and 10 from the 50. Greasy, quick drop. Now sets, fires. It is overthrown. Zonka was cutting on a slant to the middle at the 40-yard line, and the ball was thrown behind him. Sissoko over, along with linebacker Roy Winston, had their hands on it but couldn't hold on to it, so it's an incomplete pass. Third down and 10. Mercury Morris comes into the Dolphin offensive alignment. The ball at the 50-yard line. We have not been able to throw against the Vikings. 14-6. Minnesota with a touchdown in the first quarter and a touchdown just a moment ago on a long sustained drive. Greasy 9 for 22, 64 yards, 1 interception. Briscoe and Warfield split to the far side. This is the big play for the Dolphins. Third and 10 from the midfield stripe. Greasy goes back to throw. He sets up. He fires. It is picked off by Winston. 35, 40, 45, 50 into Dolphins territory across the 45 at the 42-yard line. The Dolphin receiver was down on the ground, and left linebacker Roy Winston, the 11-year veteran from LSU, had nobody to molest him. He picked it off back at the 35 and runs it back to the Dolphins' 43-yard line is where they're going to put it down.
Rick, you couldn't ask for better zone defense on that. You know, Bud Grant is probably the man that started the zone defense. And as soon as Greasy got that ball from center, everybody drifted back, getting in their spot, and Winston was right there.
Excellent field position at the Dolphin 43 with 11:28 to go. Tarkenton moved him the last time. That's the second interception on Greasy in this ball game this afternoon. Washington and Gilliam are the wide men. Oscar Reed, Osborne are the running backs. Here's the handoff to Osborne over the right side, and he gets to about the 42-yard line, and that's all before he runs into white uniforms. Vern Denherter, from his defensive left end spot, has been the one of the great players for the Dolphin defense this afternoon. Makes the tackle. Gain of a yard. He's second down and 9. Thus far, Tarkenton, or rather Osborne, has carried the ball 13 times, picked up 43 yards. Second down and 9. Vikings ball at the Dolphin 42-yard line. Washington splits to the far side. Gilliam comes to the near side. Osborne and Reed, the split backs behind Tarkenton. On the snap, Francis sprints out to his right, being pursued, and he is dropped for a big loss back into Viking territory as Nick Bonacani blitzed that time and came barreling in there and flattened him out back at the Vikings 48-yard line. The Dolphins blitzing. Bonacani made the tackle. So instead of a third down and 9, it'll be third and 19 as he loses 10, and the play will begin from the Vikings 48-yard line. The Dolphins put in Bob Matheson, and replacing Jim Dunaway. Matheson, in this particular setup, will either play a linebacker or a defensive end and try to give the opposing quarterback as much to look at defensively and to guess about as he can. Third down and long yardage. Vikings ball at their 48-yard line. 10 minutes, 10 seconds left to go. The Vikings lead 14-6. Tarkenton on the snap. Drops the throw. He's getting a good rush again. Here's caught, and he eats the ball for another loss. Back at the 42-yard line. So this forces a punting situation. Vern Denherter was there, along with Fernandez. So that brings up a punting situation, and eye shot is in. The ball is back at the 42-yard line in Minnesota territory. And into the ball game comes Charlie Lee as the deep man and Dick Anderson the shallow man. Mike Cuellar pitched an 8-hitter, and Bobby Grich hit a tie-breaking home run as the Orioles beat Boston today 2-1. Tigers cut the Red Sox lead to only a half game by beating the Milwaukee Brewers 5-1. Eyeshide will stand back at the 25-yard line. Here's the snap. He gets the punt away. Low trajectory spiral. Charlie Lee backs up, grabs it for the Dolphins at the 10. Starts the far side. 15 to the 20. He is going to be contained at the 20-yard line. 10-yard return, a 48-yard kick. He really booms them out of there. Doesn't get them too high in the air. At least he has them this afternoon. Jeff Wright made the tackle on the Minnesota Suicide Squad. And the Dolphins will start from our 20-yard line with 9 minutes and 35 seconds left to go. There is a timeout on the field. Dolphin football action will continue in 1 minute. The score, the Vikings 14, our Dolphins 6. Rick Weaver, Luke Rickburn, Henry Barrow back at Bloomington, Minnesota. The timer's running out for the Dolphins, trailing 14-6, a first down as we are 80 yards away from our 20-yard line. The Dolphins move from our right to our left for this final period. Here's Greasy, who's 9 for 22. Swings one out to the far sideline. It is caught by Briscoe. He does not get the block that he needs, and he's dragged down after a 3-yard loss. This defense, Gary Larson fought the blocker off over there, and Briscoe was looking for a hole to run in, and then Charlie West came up and flattened him out after a 3-yard gain. It'll be second down and 7.
And, Rick, you got to say something about Carl Eller again. He's right there hanging on Bob Greasy's neck, even though he's just thrown a slight, simple screen.
Greasy now 10 out of 23 unofficially for 67 yards, 2 interceptions. He has been intercepted 4 times in 3 games this year. Warfield to the near side. Briscoe to the far side. Second and 7, Miami from the 23. Here's the pitch to Morris. Sweep to the left. He gets the corner turn. 30, 35, cuts back to the right. 40, he is knocked down at the 41 and almost lost his head in the process. By Roy Winston, there is a flag down back at the 25. Winston just about tore him in half. Holding is the call on Miami. Instead of blocking, somebody held to get Mercury loose around the near side corner. So instead of a first down up at the 41-yard line and a gain of some 18 yards, the Dolphins will wind up with the football back at their 13-yard line. And a second down situation. And 17. Henry?
Holding was called on Jim Mandich.
Jim Mandich, the Dolphins tight end. Time very much a factor now. 8:42 to go. The Dolphins still unable to pass, move the football, except for one drive, which they had to settle for a field goal on in the third quarter against this very tough Viking defense. They have a 3-man rush now up in front. Here's Briscoe in motion off to the right side. Greasy, play action, swings one out to the near side. The kick, Rude's the tackler, 15. Rude's another one up to 20, still going across the 20-yard line to the 23-yard line. Kick has looked good at the second half as a pass receiver. On the screen, Greasy hitting Jim Kick. And he moves the ball from the 13 up to about the 23-yard line. A 10-yard gain. It'll be third down and 7 for the Dolphins at their 23.
Kick is limping off the field down there, Rick. Looks like he hurt his left ankle.
Kick leaves and Mercury Morris comes in. This has been a punishing physical football game. Airtime next week from Shea Stadium on WIOD in Miami and these network stations, 12:50, as we go against the Jets, who should be good and bad after losing to Houston today. Third down and 7. Big play of the ball game right here for the Dolphins to keep this drive alive from our 23. Greasy dropping the throw. He's getting a rush. He fires the middle. Morris has got it. Shakes the tackler. Gets away for another one, and he gets back to the 29-yard line. He did not make enough for the first down. At least it would appear from here. Mercury was very much aware of where that lead marker was. Winston is the fellow who halted him at the 29. He needed to get out just across the 30-yard line. And the Dolphins need to keep their hands on this football, trailing 14-6. The ball is at the 29-yard line. It'll be a fourth down and 1, and they're going to go for it. At our 29, we have to maintain possession of the football to have a chance in this ball game. 7 minutes, 9 seconds left to play. 4th and 1. If we don't make it, you know what happens. They've got the 2 tight ends in, Fleming and Mandich. Morris and Zonka. Here's the handoff. Mercury hits the middle. He squirts through. He's got the first down out to the 32-yard line. He just put his head down and behind Zonka gets the first down to the 32.
And everybody on that defensive line all figured that Zonka be carrying that ball, all in on top of Larry, so this let Mercury slip through and he had the ball.
All right, we have maintained possession, at least for the time being, with 6:33 to go. Vikings leading 14-6. Anything can happen in professional football. Briscoe and Warfield are the wide receivers. Morris and Zonka. Here's the handoff to Zonk. Starts inside, cuts outside, turns the corner, drags the tackler with him, and is knocked down at the 35-yard line. Moving to the far side of the field, Roy Winston, who has done a great job playing that left side linebacker spot. for the Vikings this afternoon. He's also intercepted a pass. There's the fellow who made the tackle. 6 minutes left to play. Dolphins trail 14-6. Have not been able to score a touchdown. Here is kick in. Zonka goes out, so Kick and Morris will be the running backs. It'll be 2nd down and 7. Dolphins football at our 35. What yardage the Vikings have given up, they have given up grudgingly. 2 Yepremian field goals, all we've been able to get this afternoon. They have really shut off Warfield. Morris is a slot man left. Warfield split left. Briscoe to the right. Here is Greasy dropping the throw. He is firing to the near side, intended for Morris, and way overthrown. Mercury would have needed a stepladder to get to that one, as Greasy just unloaded the ball and threw it out of bounds. That stops the clock with 5:31 left to go. And the Dolphins with a 3rd down and 7 from our 35-yard line. Can't say enough about this Minnesota defense. We've been mentioning the front 4 all afternoon, and you can't help that their linebackers have been excellent, particularly Winston on the left side, and those secondary men, Kasoki, Bryant, West, have really done a job on the Dolphins receivers. Greasy, 12 for 26, 83 yards, 2 interceptions at this stage. 3rd down and 7. Dolphins ball from our 35-yard line. The big play again. Here is Greasy dropping the throw. He is firing. It is caught by the tight end Mandich, 45, and he hurdles the tackler up to the 48-yard line for the 1st down. Mandich cutting across the middle. Got the ball wide open down the near side. And Bobby Bryant is the fellow who knocked him down. 1st down for the Dolphins with 5 minutes and 25 seconds left to go, as they now move the markers, and the ball is at the Dolphins' 49-yard line. The short pass being given up, but they will not allow the long one. At least they have it thus far. Kick and Morris are the split backs behind Greasy. Dolphins ball at our 49. Briscoe splits to the right, to the near side. Here's Warfield. Greasy back to throw. He swings the screen out, overthrown. He got a tremendous rush. Was intended for a kick, and he had no chance for it. Eller was in there. Page was in there waving those hands. This is what Bud Grant calls the hurries, and he's more interested in the hurries than he is in dumping the quarterback, because if you can force the passer to throw high or to get his timing off, it accomplishes the job. 2nd down and 10 for the Dolphins at our 49. Clock is stopped with the incompletion. 5:21 to go. Bob Lurchsummer has come in, replacing Gary Larson. He gets the hand as he goes off. Lurchsummer is a 6-year man from Western Michigan. Briscoe splits to the far side. Warfield to the near side. The ball at the Dolphins' 49. Morris sets as the slot man to the left. The 2nd down and 10. Vikings with a 14-6 lead. Greasy drops the throw. He fires to the near sideline. Warfield makes no reception. They say he did not have both feet inbound. The official right on top of the play. Warfield was trying, but he just could not keep that 1 foot inbound, apparently. So the pass is incomplete at the 42-yard line. And here we go with another 3rd down situation. They were crucial early in the ball game when the Dolphins were not able to convert them, and they have become even more crucial now with 5:17 left to play. The Vikings with a 14-6 lead. Dolphins 3rd and 10 from our 49. Absolutely essential that the Dolphins maintain possession of the football right now. Briscoe slot left. Warfield split left. Morris and kick of the split backs. Briscoe in motion to the right side. Greasy drops the throw. Swings the screen out. Morris has got a 45, 50, cuts to his left. Flag down, 40. He's at the 35, down to the 31-yard line in Minnesota territory, but there is a flag at the Minnesota 49, and it's going to be called back. The Dolphins have hurt themselves with penalties this afternoon. Henry?
I believe that's going to be called on Marlon Briscoe.
I saw another one down there, Rick. Larry Little came out there and had to take that man in, and he couldn't get around him. He just wrapped his arms around him, and he was called holding, no question about it.
Well, we'll wait for the official's indication thus far in the ball game. 1st downs, they are even, 10 apiece. That play, which would have given the Dolphins excellent field position down at the 31-yard line, is going to be called pass interference, offensive pass interference on Larry Little. And so, instead of a 1st down at the Vikings' 30-yard line, we have a 3rd down and 25 back at our 34. Miami has picked up 6 first downs by rushing, Minnesota 4. Vikings 5 by passing, 1 penalty, and the Dolphins 4 by passing. 3rd down and 25. The Dolphins have to get to the Vikings 41-yard line in order to maintain possession of the ball. 5:07 left to play. Greasy. Here is the end around with Briscoe carrying. Now he's going to set up to throw the ball. He fires. It is caught by Mandich, who eludes the tackler at the 45, and he did not make a first down to the 44-yard line. But we still have a down remaining. Now here's what happened on the supposed end around with Briscoe carrying from the far side. Briscoe wound up throwing a pass. You know, he used to be a quarterback, and he hit Mandich. It is fourth down. The Dolphins have the ball at the Vikings 44-yard line with 4:35 to go. And Yepremian is in to try a 51-yard field goal. Down here at the north end, Earl Morrow will hold. There is no angle. 4:24 to go. Shula figuring that a field goal here, still plenty of time left. Snaps it down. The kick is up. It is perfect. And Garrow again, the big weapon for the Dolphins with 4:15 to go. Gets us on the board. It's 14-9. The Vikings out in front. But I don't know whether you could call that, Lou, the old flea flicker or not, because it was not a pass in the backfield. It was just a handoff to the flanker, Briscoe, coming to the near side. And he used to be a quarterback and started his quarterbacking career with Denver as a signal caller and a passer, and he hit Mandich with a strike.
It's the end around that we've seen Paul Warfield run so many times, only this time we saw Briscoe out there as the end around man, the end coming around. And I'll tell you, when he set up to throw that ball, he fired that ball beautifully. It looked like Bob Greasy, just right on target. Beautiful pass.
West and Clint Jones are back to receive Yepremian's kickoff. There are 4 minutes and 15 seconds left to go. The Dolphins went for the field goal there, figuring with a 4th and 3 situation that there's time left to get their hands back on the football if the defense can hold this Vikings team. We are now down by 5 points, 14-9. Yepremian gets the ball, sets it on the tee, and the pressure is now on the Dolphin defense to get the football back, in which time we would have to score a touchdown.
I wouldn't be surprised, Rick, if we see an onside kick here.
Waiting for the official's whistle. Here comes Garrow forward. He gets it high, gets it deep. Back underneath the crossbar is Jones, and he is, as he has done every time this afternoon, he downs it. Yepremian's kicking has been outstanding. Minnesota has not been able to run the football back, and Garrow has converted on 3 out of 4 field goals. That last one being 51 yards, the longest, incidentally, that he has ever kicked in a regular league game. That 51-yard field goal, he had one of 52 yards in that first preseason game against Detroit, but of course that doesn't count. Miami with that 80-yard drive, 11 plays, 51-yard field goal for Garrow. It's 14-9. Tarkin will try to maintain possession of the football. 4 minutes, 10 seconds to go as they start from our left to our right, back at their 20-yard line. Washington and Gilliam are split off. Reed and Osborne are the split backs in behind Tarkenton. Here is the handoff to Oscar Reed. He comes through the right side, gets a yard, maybe 2 to the 21-yard line. And they're going to mark it right at the 21. Jake Scott, coming up in the safety spot, made the tackle on the play. And here comes Bob Matheson into the ball game. Vern Denneherter also in on the stop for Miami. Dunaway is out. The Dolphins go into the defense, in which Matheson will jump back and play linebacker or defensive end, trying to create confusion for the opposing quarterback. It's called, in technical terms, the 53 defense. The ball at the Vikings 21, 2nd down and 9. Tarkenton brings his ball club up. Washington splits left, Gilliam to the near side. Reed and Osborne the split back. Waiting for the snap from center. Tarkenton hands off to Reed. He is thrown for a loss as the right side of the Dolphin defense was in on top of him and knocks him down back at the 19-yard line. Bill Stanfield, along with linebacker Doug Swift, were in there to nail him, as he did not find any hole at all. They put the ball down back at the 18, so he loses 3 yards. It'll be 3rd down and 12. Clock is moving with 3 minutes left to play in this ball game. The Vikings lead 14-9. Let's see if the Dolphins can get the football back. Here is the big play of the ball game for Francis Tarkenton. He needs to get it up to the 30-yard line to hold on to it. Washington flips to the near side. Gilliam off to the far side. 3rd and 12, Vikings from their 18-yard line. On the snap, play action. He sprints out to his right. He sets up the fire. It is overthrown, intended for Washington, incomplete, up at the 28-yard line. Tarkenton was rushed that time and threw off balance So the Dolphins will get the football back, and the punt situation here now becomes critical for Minnesota. With 2 minutes and 38 seconds showing on the board, the clock is stopped on that last incompletion. And Mike Eischeid, who in the first half had a 46.5-yard punting average, is in to handle a kick. Good return here is essential for Dolphins field position. Charlie Lee is deep, and he can go if he gets the hole. Dick Anderson is shallow. Line of scrimmage, the Viking 18. Eischeid standing at the 3. Here's the snap. Flag down. He gets off a low, wobbly kick. Bounces at the Dolphins 45. Anderson grabs it and is down immediately at the 40-yard line. Or was there a flag? I thought I saw something drop back there, but apparently not. A 41-yard kick by Eischeid. Anderson had the ball bounce at the Dolphin 45. It was a low, wobbly kick, and Dick picked it up, tried to run with it. So the Dolphins are some 60 yards away with a first down at our 40-yard line. 2 minutes, 27 seconds to go. Let's see if we can do it. Trailing 14-9. Mandich is the tight end. Warfield flips to the left side. Briscoe is a slot man left. Kick and Morris in the eye. Briscoe in motion off to the right side. Here is Greasy. The pitch to Mercury Morris. The sweep to the right. Behind kick. Gets the corner turn, and that's all. He is trapped. He is really scissored over there at the 43-yard line on the far side of the field. Let's pause here for station identification on the Miami Dolphins Football Network.
Join the winning team. William Lehman has sold more Buicks than any other dealer in the South. William Lehman Buick, 163rd Street and Biscayne Boulevard in North Miami Beach.
WIOD Miami.
Dolphin football action will continue in 1 minute as we are back with the 2-minute warning now. The score, Minnesota 14, the Dolphins 9. This is Rick Weaver along with Lou Creekmer and Henry Barrow. Back at a dramatically packed ball game between the Minnesota Vikings and our Dolphins. The Dolphins have not been able to score a touchdown. We have 2 minutes to go. Vikings lead 14-9. The Dolphins with a 2nd down and 7 situation from our 43-yard line. Greasy over conferring with Shula during the 2-minute warning timeout. The fans set up the howl for the defense to take over as they have done all afternoon. Briscoe splits right. To the near side is Warfield. Kick in behind Greasy, and Morris is a slot man to the right. Here's Greasy back to throw. He fires. It is dropped. Almost intercepted by Bobby Bryant. And when I say dropped, he started to run with the football before he had it, or he might have gone. He had an interception. It was intended for Warfield, but there's a flag down, and we're going to get a penalty against the Vikings for roughing the passer. That's the initial indication from the referee, Tom Bell. Pass is intended for Warfield, incomplete, but the Dolphins are getting a break here. The pass, the penalty against the Minnesota Vikings. A personal foul for roughing the passer, and that is a first down and gives the Dolphins a first down at the Vikings' 41-yard line. They lowered the boom on Greasy and roughed him up after he got rid of the ball, which is the reason the penalty is called. So the Dolphins get a break with 1 minute and 55 seconds to go. The clock is stopped because of the penalty. And the officials setting everything now down there among themselves. Larry Little hollering something at referee Tom Bell. Now he starts, gives the indication, blows the whistle. That the ball is in play. The ball at the Vikings' 41-yard line. Dolphins need a touchdown. We have not been able to get one this afternoon. Trailing by 5 points, 14-9. 1 minute 55 to go. First down at the Vikings' 41. Briscoe right. Warfield to the near side. Here is the pitch to Mercury Morris. Sweep to the left. He's at the 40, 35, 40. Runs the ball out of bounds. Down at the 28-yard line. Morris carries for another Dolphin first down. On the sweep, but he had Kuchenberg out in front of him that time. Morris picks up a first down. Merck had carried 7 times before that play in the ball game for just 15 yards. Howard Twilley comes in for the first time this afternoon. The wide receiver replacing Briscoe. The ball at the Vikings' 28-yard line. 1 minute, 50 seconds to go. The Vikings lead 14-9. Can the Dolphins do it? Against this amazing Minnesota defense. Greasy brings him out. He splits Twilley to the far side. Warfield to the near side. Morris and kick of the split back. From the Vikings' 28, Greasy fades to throw. He's going for Twilley. He's got it. He shakes the tackler and stays in bounds for a couple of extra yards before going out down at the 20-yard line. Just a slant out on the far side of the field, and he got inside of defensive back Charlie West, who ran him out. When he got a couple of extra yards by a little hustle there, it'll be a 2nd down and 2. Dolphins ball at the Vikings 20-yard line. Getting the ball out of bounds with 1:44 to go. Clock is stopped on the pass completion. The ball at the Vikings 20-yard line. Fans here becoming a little bit apprehensive now. 14-9, Vikings lead, but the Dolphins on the move. Twilley splits left, Warfield slot left. Morrison kicks, the split backs in behind Greasy. Greasy rolls back to his left to throw. He's looking. He is looking. He fires. It is caught by Twilley. 10, down to the 5. He's down to the 3-yard line. A great effort by the little guy from Tulsa. Howard Twilley. And that, of course, is good for a first down. Greasy had all the time in the world to look for the open man, and he hit Twilley in the middle. He tried to get in, was caught at about the 7-yard line, and got to the 3 before he was dropped. Miami calls a timeout to discuss the situation with a 1st and goal situation down at the Vikings 3-yard line, and we'll hold it here since we are caught up with our commercials.
Howard Twilley just did an excellent job in there, Rick. He was covered 2 or 3 times. He just kept running around until he could get away from those boys who were covering him, and finally did get out there and catch that ball. Beautiful job by little Howard.
Let's go down to Henry Barrow.
I think it's interesting that in a situation like this where it is so tight that Don Shula, thinking ahead of everybody else, put in Howard Twilley, who's had all of those years with Bob Greasy, and who Bob Greasy knows exactly what he's going to do, and knows that if Howard's pattern is busted, where Howard's going to go. Excellent move by Don Shula.
Well, this game has all kinds of possibilities. We, as time will be back in a moment. The Vikings leading 14-9. There's 1 minute and 32 seconds to play. The Dolphins have a 1st and goal at the Vikings 3-yard line. We have not scored a touchdown. Should we score and go out in front with the conversion at 16-14, then the Vikings would have a chance, because there would certainly be enough time left. This one is a long way from being over, so stay right where you are. The Dolphins moving from our right to our left down here at the north end of the field. We have not been able to get a touchdown against this Minnesota defense. Garo Yepremian, 3 field goals, the longest one he's ever kicked. That last one, 51 yards, and he's had some great kickoffs this afternoon. Minnesota has not been able to run a kickoff backward. Right now, we have the ball, 1st and goal at the 3-yard line. Greasy, during the timeout, over discussing the situation with Shula. 14-9. Dolphins cannot use a field goal. They need a touchdown. The 2 tight ends are in, Mandich and Fleming. Morris and Zonka is back in the ball game. Greasy sets the ball club. On the snap, drops the throw. He fires the middle. Wide open touchdown is Jim Mandich. The Dolphins have scored. They flared the receivers out on both sides. Morris going to this side, and Warfield to the far side, and Mandich just cut into the middle, caught the football. That is his first touchdown pass of the year, and it could not have come at a bigger time as the Dolphins, Greasy, hitting on the touchdown toss to tight end Jim Mandich, completes his 3rd touchdown pass of the season. A 3-yarder, a 60-yard drive in 5 plays, and it's now 15-14 as Garo Yepremian will try the point from placement. Morrow will hold. There's 1 minute and 28 seconds left to play in this ball game. Waiting for the snap. Here it is, set down. The kick is up, and it's perfect. So the Dolphins have only a 2-point lead, 16-14. Now, with 1 minute and 28 seconds to go, it is up to the defense to keep the Vikings out of field goal range. Field position becomes all important.
Rick, and this is really ironical because here the Vikings have been making their breaks for the entire day, where they've been really coming back. Wherever they have a faux pas of some sort, they always came up with a big play that would have put them back up there in contention. And the play that really hurt them was that roughing of the passer when they came in on Greasy, and here it ends up, it cost them a score.
Well, now, Garo has been kicking the ball out of sight. Minnesota has not run back a kickoff this afternoon, and this is where he really wants to get one back there so that there's no run back. Field position, all important. Cox, the great kicker, on the Minnesota bench. The Dolphins with a 16-14 lead with 1 minute and 28 seconds to go. And back deep is speedster John Gilliam, number 42, for the first time off to the far side, and Clint Jones, number 26, down the near side. Here is the whistle. Yepremian forward, gets his toe into it. He gets it high. Will there be a run back? Gilliam grabs it 3 yards deep. He's going to run it out to the 5, the 10, the 15, and he is jammed up before he gets to the 20-yard line. Bob Matheson down there on the Dolphins specialty team. So he gets it out to the 19. And had they elected not to run it out, they would have gotten the ball at the 20. So Tarkenton is 81 yards away with 1 minute and 23 seconds showing on the clock. And listen to this crowd. Dolphins lead 16-14. That last drive, Gracie hitting Manning for the 3-yard touchdown pass, 60 yards. The only TD the Dolphins have been able to get. Now the pressure on the defense. Here's Tarkenton dropping the throw, gets the rush, swings the screen out. Osborne back behind the line of scrimmage, gets across the 20 into the 22, and that's all. Before he is contained by the Dolphins defense, Mike Colin, along with Manny Fernandez. The Vikings going into their 2-minute offense, no huddle. 53 seconds, clock moving, 52. They still have all their timeouts left. Miami has just 2 left. Second down and about 7. Tarkenton scrambling, throwing a short screen out to the near side. Reed trying to get around Dick Anderson. He can't do it. Anderson drops him at the 30-yard line, but that might be enough for a first down. That might be enough for a first down. Reed, the open man on a flare pass to the near side, and it is a first down for Minnesota. And the Vikings call a timeout to discuss the strategy. The clock shows 37 seconds. The ball is 70 yards away from the end zone, but Cox has been known to kick them over 50 yards. We'll see what happens. Right down to the wire, this one. And this a battle between 2 teams that could very well meet in the Super Bowl. The Dolphins coming back with a touchdown when they needed it. Great play calling by the Dolphin bench and by Bob Greasy. And a clutch performance. Now it's up to the defense to hold him. The Vikings, when time is in with 37 seconds to go, will have a first down at their 30-yard line. And the score, Miami 16, the Vikings 14. Airtime from Shea Stadium next week on WIOD and the Dolphin Network station for our battle against the Jets, 12:50. Henry?
Just to keep Lou abreast of what we mentioned earlier in the first half about dirt on the front of the back of the uniform, I noticed Doug Cruzant's got a lot of dirt on the front of his uniform, Lou.
Where it belongs.
All right, Tarkenton, after discussing the situation with Coach Bud Grant on the far sideline, comes back out. Time is back in. 37 seconds left to go. Let's see if the Dolphins are willing to give up the short one, which they undoubtedly will do in order to prevent the long one. They have Matheson in there, and that 53 defense. He comes outside to the left. Gilliam splits off to the near side. Washington to the far side. Osborne and Brown are the split-backs. Tarkenton drops the throw, being rushed. He fires a screen in the middle. Brown's got it. 35. He takes the tackle. He is caught by Colin, and he's going to be driven to the ground at the 35-yard line. Running laterally to the far side, Anderson had a shot at him, and he got away from him. And Minnesota calls a timeout with 28 seconds to go.
Rick, I'll tell you, that Brown is still a great runner. He's out there, and Nick Bonacani hit him right on the side, and Bonacani, of all things, bounced off Brown.
Second down and 5 will be the situation when time is in. Minnesota has 1 more timeout remaining. Miami has 2. The ball is at the Vikings' 35-yard line. It'll be a second down and 5. And the Dolphins shuttling defensive people back and forth. Over on the far side, Tim Foley goes over along with Mike Poland to discuss the situation with the Dolphin bench. Dolphins will arrive back at Miami International Airport tonight at about 11:15. And for our fans in Miami, we invite you to stay tuned on WIOD for the football scoreboard show, a recap of this ball game, and all other scores, including baseball results from today's American League Eastern race, right after the conclusion of our play-by-play. 16-14. Miami shut out from the standpoint of scoring touchdowns until they got one here in this final period. Mandich got the touchdown pass from Greasy with 1 minute and 28 seconds left, and now the defense has to hold and take away the field position. The ball is at the Vikings 35. Tarkenton has his ball club back in the huddle. It's second down and 5. 28 seconds left to go. This a real thriller. All right, Washington splits left. They've got in the ball game John Henderson now. He's wide to the near side. Here is Tarkenton back to throw. He fires down the near sideline. It is caught. Incomplete. Henderson caught the ball out of bounds. The official said no, he did not have both feet in bounds, and the fans, you hear the reaction in the background because that would have been a Big completion, John Henderson, veteran receiver, number 80. He caught the ball, but he was out of bounds. And the officials, I want to say this afternoon, in a tight situation, have done a great job. They have been on top of all the plays. 3rd down and 5. The incompletion stops the clock with 23 seconds to go. The ball at the Vikings' 35-yard line. Dolphins leading 16-14. Tarkenton, a long time in the huddle. Now he breaks them out. Washington comes to the near side. Henderson and Gilliam are the wide receivers left. They've taken out the tight end. Here is Tarkenton dropping the throw. He's got time. Now he's going to have to run with the ball. Scrambling, being chased. He runs it out of bounds to stop the clock, but he uses up 8 seconds. And he went out of bounds at the 33-yard line. The ball on the 33, and they had to get it up to about the 40, so he is 7 yards shy, and it'll be 4th down coming up.
That's exactly what they ought to do with Tarkenton, Rick. Keep them around there scrambling. If they keep scrambling for about 10 more seconds, they're really in great shape. They won't have time to get off another play.
I'll tell you, we have had so many thrills over this past 2-year period in covering this Dolphin football team, and this one is no different. Oscar Reed has come in now, replacing Brown. The ball back at the 32 is where they put it down in Viking territory. 4th down and 8 is what they need for a first down. 15 seconds to go. The Dolphins lead 16-14. Tarkenton spreads receivers all over the place. He's got Reed and Osborne, the split backs, in behind him. He drops the throw. 4th down, flag. Here's the swing pass. Osborne's got it at the 40 and runs it out of bounds. He's got the first down at the flag. The penalty is not against Minnesota. He runs it out of bounds at the 42. The clock is stopped with 10 seconds showing as he got out of bounds, but there's a flag down back on the far side of the field. Illegal procedure is the call against Minnesota. So they will call it back. Henry?
That's just what I want to tell you, Rick, and you caught it too.
All right, the Dolphins, of course, will take this penalty. The time consumed on that play, 5 seconds, so there are 10 seconds left to play in the ball game. And it'll be a 4th down and 12 for the Vikings. The ball back at their 27-yard line. And the Dolphins got caught in the first quarter on that long touchdown pass, but what a great job this defense has done the rest of the way. We remarked on a commentary on our 545 show on WIOD earlier this week that you may see the emergence of a new defensive power this week. The Miami Dolphins. Tarkenton back to throw. He's going deep down the near side. He's got a man down here. Up they go. Who's got it? Down at the 30-yard line. Intercepted by the Dolphins. Let's see what the officials ruled it. Intercepted, and the man who intercepted it is
Lloyd Mumford.
Lloyd Mumford, and they put the ball down at the 31-yard line. So the pass intended for Washington. Lloyd Mumford, a couple of other Dolphins went up. We had to wait for a moment to see who was going to come down with it. The defensive man has as much right to the possession of the football as does the offensive man. And there is the end of the ball game. What a comeback for our Miami Dolphins. The final score, the Dolphins 16, the Vikings 14.
A lot of people are talking about our defense, too, and I'm certainly proud of the way that they've played, going back to that Minnesota preseason game and then Kansas City, Houston, and then in the pressure-packed game against Minnesota, where we could have completely folded in the ball game because certainly we weren't doing anything offensively to win the ball game. But the defense kept us in there by doing an exceptional job stopping the run and then also getting to Tarkenton 5 times in the ball game. And you get to Tarkenton 5 times in a season, you have to feel fortunate to do that because the guy is so quick and elusive. But we got to him, and the other thing that we did is kept them from breaking the game open.
What is the key to your defense? Obviously, playing much better this year than they had under the 2 previous seasons with them.
Well, we still have a long way to go. We're not ready to start bragging or sticking out our chest. We got a long year ahead of us, and the test of a defense is over a period of time. But they're certainly more experienced, and they've been playing the same system now for the past, this is going on the 3rd year. The young people that were rookies 3 years ago, and we had a lot of them, are now 3-year veterans, and this has got to be one of the keys to any defense improving year in and year out. So I think all of these things are important. I think that young Vern Denherter has contributed a great deal to what we're doing defensively, and
that's one of the positions you had talked about that you need improvement.
Right, and then of course,
that way.
and Jim Dunaway has given us a lot of steady football as a defensive tackle opposite Manny Fernandez. And Stanfield and, of course, Manny are proven defensive football players, but it is a different front four than what we've had for the past couple of years, and I just hope that we continue to improve and come up and meet the big challenges when they're presented to us.